You're training hard, eating your protein, doing your reps, but you still don't look like an anime character. And it's not because you're lazy. It's because there are 5 small things you're doing wrong that you don't even realize are holding you back. So today, I'm gonna show you exactly what they are so you can avoid these traps and start getting jacked right now. Now, the first mistake is one that I've made at the beginning of my own journey. And I'm gonna explain this mistake using a gentleman by the name of Megumi Fushiguro. See, in the beginning of the series, Megumi is by all means a clean fighter. He did things by the book. He conserved his energy, he was tactical and very calculating. Essentially, he never usually went all in on a fight. But in dire situations, this got in his way most of the time. Even Gojo noticed this limitation in his ability. He plays it safe and avoids being reckless, but as a result, he's not reaching his true potential. So, what does he do? He decides one day to say, friggin' screw this noise, and then he goes all out at the end fight of Season 1. He does a cheeky little domain expansion, starts going a little bit psycho, and takes down a special grade all by himself. He learned to break his mental barrier and his rigid movement, and unlock his true strength. This same breakthrough applies to our workouts. A lot of us anime nerds think that when we work out, we need to have perfect, strict form all the damn time. Each movement needs to be beautiful, intentional, like you're a graceful ballerina dancing around on the dirty floors of your apartment. When in reality, the first innocent mistake people always make is thinking that they need to use strict form all the time. Now, don't get me wrong. I preach using good form like it's my job. In fact, it is. But the thing is, people are just using it wrong. Good form is important for safety and making sure the muscles we want to work are being worked. But if your last rep looks like your first, and it just looks like you're flying through it and you're maintaining perfect form throughout the whole thing, I'm gonna start to question whether you're training hard enough. Quote unquote bad form is not something you need to avoid all the time. It's just a sign that your It's just a sign that your muscles are working at a very high intensity, because when your muscles start to approach that failure, your form will break down inevitably. If you're purposefully stopping the set once you notice your hips start to dip or your form starts to break a little bit, you are robbing yourself of your potential and robbing yourself of potential gains. Now, I'm not saying go out there and do exercises with the form of Magikarp using Splash, but simply use it as an indicator of your hard work. And if you're looking to take that mindset shift even further, this is exactly the stuff I teach in the Protagonist Academy, which, by the way, at the time of this recording, is opening up spots right now. Tons of anime fans, just like yourself, are seeing massive gains in the first month. So if you're ready to transform your physique in as little as 16 weeks, I only have a small number of limited spaces, so click the link below and let's make sure you become the main character of your own story. Now, I know most of you have probably done mistake number 1, but mistake number 2 is surprisingly common, especially for those who want to unlock a Baki demon back or a gorgeous Toji V-taper, which were both my number 1 dream as a wee lad. And I wish I had somebody to tell me about this mistake, because I had to spend years figuring this out on my own. Here's how it works. Imagine you have 2 ropes. One of them is just a normal ass rope, but the other one is a super powered, enforced by the power of God in anime, and you would probably need like 50 Gokus to just even rip it apart. Now, the normal rope is attached to a pole with a very strong knot. The stronger enforced rope is attached to the same type of pole, but with a weak knot. Now, take a couple of strong looking dudes to pull on this rope as hard as they can. Now, let me ask you, which rope do you think is going to be able to handle more force? Now, even though the second rope is far stronger than the first rope, the fact is it doesn't matter, because the knot that's holding it onto the pole is far weaker. Thus, that rope is detached from the pole, and the normal ass rope is still standing and handling tons of more force. This is exactly what's happening when you guys are trying to train your back or your lats. Because the second innocent mistake that's holding you guys back from these beautiful gains is your grip. If you're the strongest guy in the world, but you've got butterfinger grip, there's no possible way for you to do pull-ups effectively or even inverted rows. But for most of you, it's not because your grip is weak, it's because your grip technique is just wrong. So here's exactly how I get a gorilla grip every single time. First step, you gotta maximize friction on your hands and use chalk. This is a non-negotiable, always use chalk. Second, I see a lot of people grab onto the bar with just their fingers. Imagine my finger is a bar, and my fingers are fingers. This grip is probably the weak sauce of grips. This will cause you to start slipping more and more, and once you slip, you're gone. Instead, how I like to grip the bar is bring my thumb to the bar and then wrap my entire hand around it, starting with the pinky and gradually getting to the index finger. Get the thumb around to lock it in, and then boom. This is that deep grip. Not only do you have even more contact points with this grip, but even if you slip onto your fingers, which was already your default grip anyway, so you just last longer. The third tip I give for getting a stronger grip is that you're only as strong as your weakest finger, meaning if that finger slips, you're gonna slip. So focus all of your attention on this little guy, the pinky. Look at him. Look at him dance. So concentrate on squeezing your pinky most of all, and that way with a more consistent grip, a stronger grip, you're going to be able to push yourself with a lot more force. Now this next mistake is one that I see a lot of my clients make. It's also a mistake that when fixed, can turn your physique from this to this. And here's exactly how it works. The picture I just showed you is one of my clients, Kevin Liberty. I've been working with him on his anime physique for a while, and he's one of the best dudes I've ever talked to. He's watching this, which I think he is. You're cool, man. Anyway, I was on a call with him once, and he was telling me that he was experiencing a plateau in strength and physique. We went over a number of things that it could be, but none of them seemed to be the answer. Until I asked him,
"Hey, by the way, when's the last time you took a deload week?"
He paused, he looked at me, and he said, "Oh, probably like a year ago." Immediately I was like, oh, that's probably what's happening. And I prescribed him a deload week right then and there, right now. Then after his well-needed rest, he was able to jump back into his workouts with more energy. He felt so much better. And just look at that sexy back. It's a chef's kiss right there. Now, it may have been a small little action step, but some of you guys out there are unknowingly killing your gains. Because mistake number 3 is not giving your body enough rest. People think that, oh, more volume means more gains, more training means more muscle, more tire means stronger. But that couldn't be further from the truth. If your muscles get damaged from exercise, why would they have the time and energy to grow stronger if you just keep damaging them all the time with exercise? Yes, you need to train hard, but what's more important is proper sleep. Feeding your body the right protein and nutrients so it can rebuild itself. Taking adequate rest days between working out, at least 24 to 48 hours, and taking a full week off to let the body do its natural healing processes every 6 to 8 weeks. I used to neglect deload weeks as well because I thought taking a break would kill my gains. And that's how Kevin felt too. Don't mistake us for each other. But I promise you, you're going to come back feeling much stronger and looking much better like this fine gent. And of course, if you're interested in working with me just like Kev did, as a reminder, check out the academy down below. Now let's jump into mistake number 4, because this one flies under the radar all the time. In fact, I still make this mistake these days, and I see countless other people in my community also doing this too. So here's exactly what you need to avoid. Picture Midoriya in the early days of My Hero. Every time he used One For All, his arm would look like it got boiled. It becomes so much of a problem that his legs, his fingers, even his entire body gets throttled and knocked around by his own ability. Now later in the series, this barely happens to him, and Midoriya is able to use his power freely. He can punch at full strength, and he's not going to break his bones. If you are an audience member, would you at all be thinking, oh, Midoriya isn't breaking his bones, so he's not fighting that hard? No, right? Because that would be stupid. But this is exactly what you guys are doing to yourselves in mistake number 4. And that's thinking you need to feel sore every single workout. I see it all the time. People are asking me, hey, I don't feel sore anymore. Does that mean the workout's not working? And here's how I respond to that. The feeling that you get the day after your first workout, that aching, tight feeling in your muscles, it might even feel good because that's a signal that we've worked out pretty hard. It's like a little trophy, a little reward letting us know we did a good job. And sure, it might mean that you had a pretty intense training session, but in reality, it's just your body telling you, damn, this is some new stimulation I'm not used to. I'm gonna freak out. Soreness is just your body reacting to something new and different. So just because you don't feel sore after a workout doesn't mean you're not growing, you're not training hard enough, or that the training isn't working. In fact, it actually means the opposite. Your body is slowly getting used to the stimulation, which is a sign that you are getting stronger. The only times you should feel sore is if you're coming back from a deload or a detrained session, or 2, you're trying a new type of training that your body isn't really used to. You're attempting some new exercises that your body isn't used to. So don't worry about that outcome of trying to feel achy all the time. Instead, just focus on the process and keep training as hard as you can. But unfortunately, that's where it could lead to some problems. And that's where this next mistake comes in. Let's bring Midoriya back because he's a pretty good example. Now, it's a part of his story arc that he goes through pain and suffering in order to become the hero he wants to become. You know, pushing his limits and breaking his body over and over again just to rebuild it and come back stronger. But to be honest, seeing the end of the series, he didn't have to do any of that, in theory. If Midoriya of the present, or like season 6 or whatever, went back in time to Midoriya of season 3, he could probably spare him the past pains of training and breaking his bones and whatever, sharing the techniques of just using 10%, learning to use his legs, learning about the full cowling technique. You can imagine me as the future Midoriya to your current season 1 Midoriya. And this is exactly what I'm doing by telling you that mistake number 5 is training too hard and too much. First things first, let's get this straight. You do want to train hard, but just not too hard. In the beginning, I did so much volume, like 30 sets per muscle, thinking that I would be getting more gains this way. But the truth was, I was only exhausting myself and just breaking myself over and over, just like Midoriya. Instead, what I should have done and what you should do is manage your volume to be 10 to 20 sets per muscle. But one of the bigger mistakes that I made in calisthenics was training way too intensely, using progressions that were way too difficult for me, attempting moves that were pretty much impossible for me. When you approach calisthenics this way, it's like trying to climb a ladder with the rungs 5 feet away from each other. But when the progressions are correct, you train appropriate to your level, and the workout is tailored for you, then it's like climbing a nice shallow set of stairs instead. General rule of thumb: if you can't perform a rep twice, don't perform it once. If you can perform more than 15 reps, it's probably time for an upgrade. That way you can gradually, continually increase your strength as you learn the more advanced progressions for these calisthenics exercises. But knowing exactly what progressions you should use, and especially if you're a beginner, is going to be very difficult if you don't have the training experience just yet. So watch this video right here if you want to accelerate your progress by learning every single calisthenics progression you need to build an anime physique.